Yes, let's start. I have microprocessor course and I needed to have a term project, and I want to introduce my project briefly, then I want to introduce my micro C code, and let's start. I wanted to make a project about security systems. I have password control sliding door connected with a GSM model project, and yes, I needed to simulate first, then I implement real life by using this board, EasyPeak 7. This is the real life application of my project. I have keypad. I needed to use LCD to see if I send information to LCD, and yes, of course, microcontroller, PIC, and GSM model, but I didn't use GSM model because some technical problems I have faced during the project process. So let's move on. I found this project on the internet, of course, but I changed to be effective and to be educative project, and I also added my professor suggestion. Yes, how procedure works in this project. Algorithm in this is in the following form. First, we have system to ask the right password at the beginning of the process, then password is defined. We needed to set password once, then we need to enter this password to make the door is open. And yes, password will be getting with the keypad, and you can see what you are writing on the LCD. And yes, I tried to add suggestion of my professor. He said me that I can make this project more interesting by placing a sensor for the door, but in this simple form. Let's see. I have learned from the lecture slides, use the quick manual and Microprocessor Pro compiler book and PIC book, and I learned from Microelectronica forum and Micro C documentation on the net. I use Proteus simulation because it's easy and I am familiar with it, and I have followed some steps, interface and CD, keypad, and learn how to drive DC motor. And yes, I improved my algorithm, combined all steps, and yes, I have countdown in the code, but I didn't use in the main void main function because I don't know, I have something missing on there, and I didn't interface GSM model. This is the missing point of my project. Here libraries that I used: keypad library, LCD library, and APROM library, because I needed to keep some password values on EEPROM to remember it and compare with the second password that user need to enter. Yes, keypad library. I am passing here, and these are the routines, some routines. You can find them on the net. And yes, I needed to use interrupt technique in order to implement a sensor in the desired way. To this project requires interrupt method, which has a great importance for programming, and I don't know, it's pretty difficult for me, so I tried to simplify this idea and use interrupt method in my project. What is this idea? This idea is this professor suggestion, and we have a lot of interrupt times, but I use external hardware interrupt, which is we need to use on reveal 0, 1 and 2 pins. This is another interrupt example, basic example, you can check it out. And yes, simulation steps, I use the same circuit diagram with EasyPick7 board because I can directly implement it to real life. And yes, need to set password here, then we need to enter. If and they are matches, you see here motor is running, and if you enter wrong password, LCD will say to you incorrect try. And if you try the password incorrectly 3 times, you will get an alarm. Yes, this is simulation. Let's go to the code. Here, and these are LCD module connections, and I needed to use LCD variables. This variable to shift text on LCD, and these are chart type variables to display on LCD. This is the keypad module connections. I needed to use this and these connections before the code to use LCD and keypad with the peak. And yes, I needed to say this, my frequency is 16, and I used this peak 18F 45K22. Yes, let's go on. This is keypad variables, and these are variables to keep digits of passwords, first, second, third and fourth digits. This is a counter because I needed to count how many digits I am entering. Here it's because 4, I needed to count. This is flag for interrupt, you will see in the code, and this is time, is equal 10 for 10 seconds countdown, and this is output to this variable is to convert into chart to display on LCD. This is keypad function, I will call in the main void function this function. Yes, this is keypad function. Here we need to wait for key to be pressed and released. These are almost the same functions, and I use this keypad key click. And yes, if I press a key, then I will exit this loop and go on with the next. This is counter function. I wrote here counter function, but I didn't use in the loop. I already set this, and yes, I am passing here. You can understand what does it mean, this code. Here we decrease the time every 1 second with for loop, and yes, I need to write on the LCD. If I finish 10 seconds, I need to time is up, but I didn't use this countdown. Anyway, interrupt routine is here. This is interrupt routine. We needed to check reveal 0 pin if it's pressed or not, high or low. See, and this is flag, interrupt flag, and this is interrupt flag clear. Need to clear interrupt flag for every run. If it's not cleared, you will be in the interrupt always. This is motor driving function. It's not driving, but I use just the name. This is just to stop the motor.